Welcome to our webinar. My name is Astrid Morfitt. I'm the Associate Registrar, International Recruitment and Admission here at the University of Guelph. We're super excited to welcome you to our Discover STEM Programs webinar. We're going to provide you with a lot of wonderful information about the University of Guelph, about our STEM programs, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You will have an opportunity to meet our program experts, to meet many of our current international students, and just learn a lot about what the University of Guelph has to offer when it comes to STEM. So there are many opportunities for you to get involved throughout today's webinar. I would encourage you to remain in the webinar throughout the presentations, because at the end you will receive an email that will allow you to apply to the University of Guelph with an application fee waiver. So outside of applying for free and hearing from us very quickly, what you will also have an opportunity to do is utilize the Q&A at the bottom of your screen throughout the webinar. Please, I do encourage you to put in any questions that you would like information on, to engage with our program experts as well as our current international students, and to learn about all of the amazing things that we have waiting for you at the University of Guelph. So when it comes to the University of Guelph, there are a lot of different things that we would like you to discover. So we have over 30,000 undergraduate students at the university. Of those 30,000 students, approximately 2,200 are international students from 140 different countries around the world. We're the top 6 comprehensive university in Canada. And we offer state-of-the-art facilities, as well as top-notch, world-renowned research. And the reason we're able to do that is because we're ranked #1 in Canada for research dollars. So we are receiving a lot of assistance from the government and from many other areas to allow us to not only recruit amazing faculty members, but also encourage those faculty members to be able to do research. And you get to benefit in so many different ways by either taking part in that research, learning from that faculty, and also taking advantage of all of the different facilities that we're able to provide you with that are used for the research. 92% of our students are employed within 6 months of graduation, and many of our students receive employment opportunities before they even graduate. So we will talk about all of those opportunities and how you can make the best of your time at the University of Guelph. When it comes to our programs within STEM, we rank very, very high. So we're #1 in Canada, #5 in North America, and #8 in the world for veterinary medicine. So the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, or DVM program, is offered at the University of Guelph, and it is not a direct entry program, so you will learn more about that, but you are required to study for 2 years within an undergraduate degree program before being able to apply and be admitted to DVM. We're #1 in Canada and #16 in the world for agricultural sciences. So not only do we teach our students about agriculture from the perspective of producing, growing, but also manufacturing and improving all of the different systems and infrastructures as well that are associated with agriculture. And you will learn more about that during our program-specific sessions after this welcome session. We're #1 in Canada, #2 in North America, as well as #3 in the world for animal sciences. So you might be aware that we have a lot of programs on campus that have to do with animals. Animal sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, zoology, as well as learning about animals from a different perspective. So from an agriculture perspective, from a scientific perspective, and even a business perspective. So a lot of different ways to utilize your passion and your experience that you gain at Guelph. We're also #1 in Canada, #9 in North America, and #15 in the world for nutrition and food science. So outside of us being amazing at sciences and offering a plethora of different programs that are related to food science, nutrition, so growth of food, manufacturing of food, development and improvement, we also are known as the best food university in the country. And that is going for 10 years plus in a row, and we'll talk about food a little bit later on. So our beautiful campus takes about 10 minutes for you to walk from one end to the other end of the campus. What it provides you with is a lot of amazing infrastructure, some older, some new, a lot of green space, quiet space where you can walk through the campus, take advantage of running into your classmates, your friends, your faculty members, and staff from around the campus. And also, we're located in the center of the city of Guelph. So you get the benefit of both worlds of having a self-contained university where you can work, you can study, you can live, but also being able to walk off campus very easily or hop on a city bus to be able to explore the city of Guelph itself. So these are some of the popular spots on our campus, depending on what you're interested in. Of course, the library is important, but also checking out some of our sporting events, going to the Arboretum to go for long walks, to explore nature and just to be able to relax, going to the athletic center, and just taking advantage of all the different spaces on campus where you can study, you can relax with friends, take some time to yourself, and just really take full advantage of all the different resources at the university. So when it comes to STEM facilities, you're going to learn a lot more during the different sessions. One thing I wanted to let you know is that the sessions will be recorded. So if you are interested in attending more than one session, clearly you can go from one to the other, but what you can also do is stay in one for the duration of today's webinar and then take advantage of watching the other recordings at a later time as well. We're going to talk to you about all the different STEM facilities that we have around the campus, how they're utilized, what the students' experience is by being able to take advantage of them, how they're integrated into your academic programming, and also how you might be able to get part-time positions and or research assistantships in these particular STEM facilities as well. So definitely a lot of great information will be covered today. So the city of Guelph is basically surrounding our campus. So we are a quiet campus. There's not a lot of vehicles going through our campus outside of people who work there and or live there, but you are surrounded by the city itself. So you really get the opportunity to take in the culture of our city and to take advantage of all of the opportunities such as work opportunities, getting involved, volunteering, going to different events, and just really making the best of your time at the university and within the city of Guelph. So when it comes to our city, we are one of Canada's top 10 places to live. There's a lot happening, a lot of great things to do, and a lot of different ways to get involved. So we're going to chat about a few of those just to give you a taste of what to expect. So we have approximately 153,000 people who live in the city of Guelph. And remember, we have about 30,000 undergraduate students who attend the University of Guelph. Our unemployment rate is among the lowest in Canada, and that is extremely helpful to you as you navigate part-time employment opportunities on or off campus, as well as full-time work opportunities during your time off, or if you're in co-op and you're looking to fulfill your work terms that are part of your academic journey. And we'll chat about that in a little bit. There's a perfect blend of nature and city with modern and traditional architecture. So a lot of places to go shopping, restaurants, a lot of different ways that you can just hop on and off the bus with your student card and explore the city. You can explore nature. You can go and take advantage of outdoor skating, as well as a lot of the different music and cultural festivals that are happening throughout the year. At this time of year, you can also watch the colors change in the trees. Everything is going from green to yellow, orange, red. It is very vibrant. It is very beautiful. And you can see it throughout the city and the surrounding areas as well. So all in all, there are a lot of great things to do throughout the city, throughout the year. And then one of the greatest things that we're very proud of is that we're ranked as one of Canada's top 3 safest cities. And what that means is that you can be confident walking off campus, exploring the city, going to work, going to eat, hang out with your friends, and know that you're going to be safe. So when it comes to our STEM programs, or really programs at the University of Guelph, is we want to provide you with as much flexibility as possible, dependent on your degree and major of interest. So what we do is we allow you to create and build your best degree. And what I mean by that is we have 16 degree programs. So that would be like your Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Mathematics, and so on. Within those degree programs are majors, so main areas of academic focus. So, for example, biological science. So, you would be focusing primarily on that area as a major. Sometimes your program will allow you the opportunity to have a double major, or in many cases, a minor. So, you could complete a degree in Bachelor of Science with a main focus in, let's say, biological science and a small focus in psychology. And what that allows you to do is really focus on the different passions that you have, build your own degree, and make sure that not only are you taking advantage of focusing on different areas that are of interest to you, but also differentiating yourself from other students who are completing degrees at other institutions as well. So why STEM at U of G? You're going to learn so many reasons why, but what I'd like you to know is that we have amazing support on campus, amazing faculty and staff. We're here to make sure that you get the best out of your degree, that we're preparing you for the future, that we're building you, and that each year you're at the university, you have the ability to grow, explore, find out exactly what you want to do as your career and or future academic aspirations. And we provide you with a lot of different opportunity to get hands-on experience. So that is the key. Not only are you learning academically, so focusing on theory, you're also doing a lot of hands-on work, a lot of project work, collaboration amongst different students and different programs. So there are a lot of opportunities for you to really grow and make the best of your degree. But definitely go and join the program-specific sessions where you will learn not only from our program experts, but also from our current international students about what makes U of G the place to be for STEM. So one unique program that we offer at the University of Guelph is called the Bachelor of Arts and Sciences. So sometimes we have students who are equally passionate about arts and about science. And instead of asking them to choose one versus the other, they can actually equally focus on both. So I have had past students who have worked within our international recruitment and admission department who were interested in, let's say, neuroscience and classical studies. Not generally a combination that you would see very often, but they were able to complete a degree where they focused on both areas equally, and they graduated with a degree in Bachelor of Arts and Sciences. So something to explore if you do have a variety of different interests that you're trying to collaborate on. So I spoke briefly about the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. We do have current students who are in the DVM program as well as our program expert in one of our sessions. So if this is the program of interest to you, I encourage you to definitely go and speak with them. We have the #1 vet school, top 10 in the world. We're accredited. We provide students with a lot of hands-on experience. We provide students with an elevated experience. Our DVM student group is very tight-knit. There are a lot of supports, but they also have opportunities to support you during those first couple of years of your undergraduate degree so that you can learn from current students and what their journey was when they were applying to the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine program, what the selection process is like, how they were able to get involved and gain that experience that they needed, and just why they chose to be veterinarians. I know sometimes students decide this at a very young age, sometimes they might decide that at a later age. So we definitely have a lot of support systems, a lot of hands-on experience, and as I said, current students who can speak to all of our STEM programs, including DVM. As you can see, the OVC alumni have 100% employment rate as well, so that is fantastic, where you know that you will have a job after you graduate. And that is the case with many of our programs, especially if you're involved in co-op and you have the ability to meet with employers, show them what you're made of, gain that experience and really more clarity about the type of company you want to work for, the type of job you want to do after graduation as well. So speaking of a co-op, many of our programs at the University of Guelph offer the co-op opportunity. This is an opportunity for you not only to gain paid work experience in Canada, but also to go and work for different companies or in different departments. Maybe you want to try healthcare and then try the government and then try the public versus private sector, the financial sector, and so on. So you really have the opportunity to work and complete anywhere between 3 and 5 paid work terms. They are generally 4 or 8 months long. We have about 70 undergraduate programs or majors that offer the co-op option for you to utilize. And over 5,000 of our students are currently in co-op. I'm super excited to inform you that we have just moved up to the second largest university co-op program in Ontario, and we're the fifth largest university co-op program in Canada. And what that means is not only do we offer co-op, we do it really, really well. We have a support system. You will take Co-op 1100, which is a course where the professor will teach you how to create a cover letter, a resume, how to search for jobs, how to apply for jobs and interview for jobs. You will also have a co-op coordinator who will guide you, who specializes in your program and in those networking opportunities with employers around the world. So it will provide you with an opportunity to earn anywhere between $7,417 and upwards of $21,000 per work term. And remember, you will complete 3 to 5 work terms during your degree program. So that's upwards of about $80,000 in throughout your degree. That not only, as I said, allows you the opportunity to test all the different careers, but to network, make connections, gain valuable work experience in Canada, but also get paid and help offset the cost of your education. Many students are offered employment before they even graduate because these employers have had an opportunity to have you work for them. They can see exactly what you are made of, but you're also having the opportunity to learn about them, their company, and if it is the place you want to work. So these are just a few samples of the employers that where our co-op students work. We do have thousands of employers that we work with very closely, and then sometimes students come with their own connections through their family, friends, and so on. And we can help you navigate that process as well. So the opportunities are endless, and we just want to make sure that you're gaining hands-on experience that is related to your program, and that after you graduate with the co-op designation from the University of Guelph, it sets you up for success in the future as well. So co-op sequencing is different dependent on the program and major that you're in. Generally, it does take 5 years for students to complete a co-op designated program. And what that means is that academically, outside of Co-op 1100, really it is the same academic program if you're completing a 4-year honors degree or a 5-year co-op degree. It's just that we need to infiltrate those 3 to 5 work terms into your degree. And because of that, it ends up taking you 5 years to graduate with a co-op degree. So here's an example of a Bachelor of Engineering, the major in Engineering Systems and Computing. You can see your first academic year, you're studying full-time. You do not do any co-op. Your first summer is off. Then your second year, you're studying full-time. And then your summer, you're working full-time. Then you come back for an academic semester, and then you work for 2 work terms. So it could be 2 different opportunities or 1 opportunity for 8 months. Then you come back for your 4th year, which is a full academic year. You work that summer as well as the next fall, and then you finish off with an academic term. So when you're in the academic terms, what it means is that you're studying full-time. You do have the ability to legally work on or off campus on a part-time basis during your academic terms. You can work full-time during your off terms, and then during your work terms, you would be working full-time. So that's generally 35 to 40 hours per week. So just to give you a sense of how that works as well. So in regards to co-op earnings, it does depend on the program that you're in, the major, the work opportunity that you find, but also dependent on if you're a junior or a senior co-op student, which means how many work terms have you completed? Because the more experience you have, the higher the opportunity is for you to earn higher amounts of money. So these are just from last year, the opportunities that our students have found. And this is specific to how much you would earn per work term. And then remember, you would be completing 3 to 5 work terms during your degree program. So funding your education is extremely important, and I'm very excited to inform you that this year we're offering a brand new slate of scholarships to international students. So we have the President's International Entrance Scholarship, which is a one-time scholarship. This is based on your academic average, and this is for high school students. So if you're being admitted to the University of Guelph as a high school student, depending on your admission average, you can earn anywhere between $1,500 and $4,500 towards your education. After that, we offer the International Tuition Scholarship. It's a one-time $2,000 scholarship. We also are offering the University International Scholarship, which is renewable. So it is $5,000 in your first year. So as long as you receive an offer of admission and you're an international fee-paying student, you're guaranteed a $5,000 renewable scholarship, which could be renewed in second, third, and fourth year at $5,000 each year. You are required to maintain an 80% average. So each academic year is independent of itself when it comes to the renewability criteria. We also have the Dean's International Scholarship, which is also renewable and awarded to you at the point of an offer. So that would be $2,500 each year for up to 4 years, as long as you meet the renewability criteria. Then we have the Dr. Franco J. Vaccarino President Scholarship. This is the only scholarship that actually requires an application. The deadline, as you can see, is January 23rd, 2026. The Dr. Franco J. Vaccarino President Scholarship is on top of any of the other scholarships you're eligible for, and the total amount awarded to you would be $42,500 over 4 years, plus a research assistantship in the summertime. So there are a lot of amazing opportunities. So I definitely encourage you to not only apply to the University of Guelph, but also apply for the President's Scholarship before the January 23rd deadline. So these are all for high school, current high school or recent high school graduates. If you are attending a post-secondary institution, so a college or a university, at the point of an offer, if you're an international fee-paying student, we would automatically award you a one-time $10,000 international transfer scholarship. So you don't need to remember all of these things once you apply to the university, and we can determine that you're eligible for an offer of admission. We will automatically inform you of any and all scholarships that you're eligible for. So in regards to our ability to support your journey, we are here every step of the way. Today, as I mentioned, I encourage you to utilize the Q&A session. Ask any of the questions that you have. We have our staff and students here for you. We also have a lot of support on campus throughout your application and admission journey, once you arrive at the university, all the way upwards and post-graduation. So we have teams across the university who are here to support you. One of the very important teams to support you outside of recruitment and admission would be the Global Pre-Arrival Support Team that we call the GPS team. So C and Madhulika are here. We would put you in touch with them as soon as you receive an offer of admission. They will be able to guide you throughout the journey in regards to applying for your study permit, preparing all the required documents, arriving in Canada, knowing which documentation you need, what to pack, and just making sure that once you arrive on campus, we have the support system throughout your time at the University of Guelph. And those are called the International Student Advisors. So they will be here for you throughout the years that you are at Guelph. We also provide guaranteed housing. So if you're an international fee-paying student from outside of Canada, we can guarantee you housing for the duration of your undergraduate degree, plus your first year of a master's degree. If you're a domestic fee-paying student and you're applying to the University of Guelph from outside of Canada, we can guarantee you housing for your first year of university. The only thing I ask you to do is to make sure that you submit your application and your $750 deposit by June 1st, 2026. You're also required to accept your offer of admission in order to be considered for the guarantee. One thing that I mentioned earlier was campus food, and don't get hungry looking at these pictures, but I just want you to know that we are known as #1 for campus food. We also have the ability to assist you with any of your dietary preferences, restrictions. We have chefs on campus. We are very much into food, not only academically, but also to allow you to be able to focus, study, and make the best of your time at the University of Guelph by fueling your body as well. So in regards to your next steps, when we first joined, I provided you with some information in regards to the application fee waiver. So make sure that you remain within the webinar from start to finish. So attend today's webinar. After the webinar, you will receive an email that will allow you to complete the pre-admission form. Once approved, you will receive the application fee waiver. We will give you a decision on your eligibility for admission as well as any of the scholarship. And you will have the ability to get access to our admission portal to submit any additional information as well. So now it's time for the program sessions. As I mentioned, we have multiple sessions. They're all going to be recorded. So just make sure that you join the session you're interested in and then that you watch the recordings once they're shared with you by email in a few days so that you can take advantage of learning about all the different amazing programs and facilities and opportunities that we have at Guelph. So the sessions are food, environment, and agriculture, engineering, health sciences, which is focusing on animal and human sciences, and then computing. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend ahead, and we look forward to seeing you in the next sessions momentarily.
So since we're just after 9:30, I think we can go ahead and get started. So hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us at the Discover STEM Programs webinar at the University of Guelph. This is the Computing and Mathematics breakout room, just so everyone's aware. And thank you so much to those of you who added into the Q&A where you're joining us from. And I can also add to that. So I'm coming to you from the city of Kitchener, which is in Ontario. That's just right next door to Guelph. But I do have a real University of Guelph campus location up as my background right now. So thanks again to everybody who shared with us so far. And I hope this session is really helpful to all of you in all corners of the world. This session will be largely academic, so it doesn't matter where you live. The information will be relevant for all of you. My name is Purvi, and I'm the main host of this webinar today. I am also joined by a few domestic and international students that are currently pursuing their degrees here as well, and they'll hop on camera shortly and introduce themselves. We're so excited to have you join us and learn more about these incredible program areas at the University of Guelph. And I know you'll have just heard about the city and had a nice overview of the university as well. So we'll use this session to just talk more about the academic areas and the student perspectives. And again, we know so many of you are joining us from different regions and time zones around the world, so we really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us today and learn about how Guelph can play a significant role in your future as it has for other international students. So I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge that the University of Guelph resides on the land of the Between the Lakes Treaty Number 3, the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We say this as a reminder of our responsibility we have to the land where we live, learn, and work. And so today's presentation will be about 35 minutes or so, and then we'll leave plenty of time after that for some question and answers based on what we're seeing you type into the Q&A there and what we know incoming first-year students usually want to hear about. So we'll talk today both about the Bachelor of Computing degree and the Bachelor of Mathematics degree, and you'll hear from our 3 students and learn about your next steps as an applicant. So please feel free to use that Q&A function throughout the presentation. And one of my colleagues from the admissions team is with us today, and they will be monitoring and answering your questions behind the scenes. So thanks in advance to those of you working away on the chat today. So a little bit about me as your host, and then I'm going to pass it over to the students to hop on camera as well. But I'm a staff member now at the university, but I'm also a University of Guelph graduate. And by this December, I will be a 3-time University of Guelph alumni. So I came to Guelph years ago when I turned 18. I moved here from Malawi, which is a small country in Southeast Africa. I earned a Bachelor of Science degree and I worked in the veterinary industry for years before doing a career change and then coming back to the university and working in the marketing and recruitment sector. And I never thought I'd work on campus once I graduated or pursue graduate studies here later in life, but those opportunities came and I took them very quickly because all my memories of campus were so positive. My G reason why, or the reason that I said yes to accepting my offer to the University of Guelph, was because I knew that the vet school at Guelph is a top ranked school in the world, #1 in Canada. But in general, their STEM programs are well recognized and they have those smaller, more collaborative environments. And so it was an obvious choice for me. And also, of course, as an international student myself, I couldn't just hop over for a campus tour or attend an open house or just come for a weekend visit. So it was really choosing out of all the brochures. And so when I lined up all the Canadian universities that I was considering, I was most attracted to the Guelph book. And it was just an intuitive feeling that served me well. I couldn't have been happier with my choice. And now I'm going to pass it over to our three amazing current students to turn their cameras and mics on. And in order of the photos on screen, can you just tell us in about 10 seconds or so, what's your name, what programs are you studying, and where are you from? And we'll start with Izehi.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Izehi. I am currently in my 5th year of computer science. I'm a co-op student. I'm also pursuing a minor in human resources and org behavior, and I am originally from Lagos, Nigeria.
Hi everyone, I'm Srinivas Pisharadi. I'm originally from Kerala, India, but I grew up in Dubai. And I'm a third year computer science student currently pursuing my co-op work term.
Hello, everybody. My name's Finn. I'm actually a domestic student. I came from Guelph, and I'm currently in my 3rd year of the Bachelor of Math, so mathematical science.
Amazing. That's great. Thanks so much to all my university students for joining us, even in the middle of your very busy midterm season. So they all volunteered to be here and share their stories with you because they were just in your shoes a few years ago. And so hopefully our audience members will learn some new things from you today. So some of our student panelists are pursuing something called co-op. I know you might have heard about that in the main session, but I know I didn't know what co-op was when I was living overseas until I got here. So in case some of you still aren't quite familiar with it, co-op stands for cooperative education. It's an option that you can see if your program is available in, and we'll go over the ones that are today. And if it is, and you qualify for it, and qualification is just based on your academic marks, then you can spend some terms at a full-time paid job and then other terms back in class studying. This way you get about 3 to 5 work terms in your field. You can earn while you learn. You get industry experience, references, and a professional network before you even graduate. If your program is not available in co-op, there are plenty of experiential learning opportunities for all students to get involved and to still give you those hands-on skills. So I'll show you what a sample co-op schedule might look like. So in this schedule, each gold and red block is a 4-month term. Anything in gold that says academic means you are on campus, you're in class, and you're studying your courses. And then in the red blocks, you are expected to secure your own job and be working full-time, no academic classes. In this schedule, you'll see in your first 2 years, you're fully in class, you've done half your degree before you even start your first work term. And because each block represents 4 months, whenever there's 2 back-to-back red co-op blocks, you can line up 2 different jobs for 4 months each, or you can spend 1 8-month term somewhere. Remember, you are responsible for securing your own co-op job, but we as a university, we do provide you with all the preparatory skills and resources like internal job boards, on-campus employment fairs, co-op and career advisors to help our students find meaningful work. Okay, and with that, let's dive into talking about our academic programs, and we're going to start with the Bachelor of Computing. So the title of this degree is somewhat unique to Guelph, as there are very few degrees in Canada that are actually called computing. So at other schools, you could study a computer science type degree, but then the actual name of the degree you graduate could be a Bachelor of Arts or Applied Science or Engineering, etc. So we're really lucky to have this very distinct computing degree because I've heard employers say how they love seeing that title on a resume. They automatically know what technical skills you're equipped with. The main draw for this Bachelor of Computing program, in contrast to many other institutions, is that there is no science needed to enter this program, and there is no science in the curriculum unless you choose to add it in as an elective course. There is a slide later that you can screenshot, and any of the info I go over today, please feel free to screenshot if you think it'll be helpful to revisit. But when you want to see what that full first year course breakdown looks like, we'll be able to review it. But that's a huge advantage for those students who want to avoid the traditional sciences. And if you are already enrolled in some biology, chemistry, physics, that's great, but just know that it's not mandatory. There are 2 majors or areas of specialization that you have to choose from in this degree, and you'll choose between either computer science or software engineering at the time of application. Okay, I'll get to the differences between the 2 on the next slide. The interdisciplinary structure of the Bachelor of Computing degree here means we want you to take courses outside of computing, so in non-computing subject areas as well. And so for that reason, because science is not a mandatory prerequisite or built into the curriculum, our software engineering major is not an accredited engineering major, in case anyone was interested in pursuing that PEng or professional engineering designation. Now, we have added a new curriculum feature in this year, just in response to the demand for some of these trending themes in industry. But by the end of your first year, once you're here for your undergrad studies, you will need to select one of the 4 areas of emphasis on screen. And then you would take 8 courses in that specific area to give you the competitive edge when you graduate, and to say you have a special focal area in either AI, data science, cybersecurity, or user experience. Another reason to pursue this degree is the location of the University of Guelph. So we are right between Toronto and Waterloo, and all the major tech and commerce companies or major Canadian banks, insurance groups, government offices, the largest healthcare facilities, they all have central offices or headquarters right within a 1-hour radius. And so that kind of Toronto to Waterloo corridor, for which Guelph is right in the middle of, we call that North Silicon Valley. And so for summer jobs, co-op placements, internships, and graduation opportunities, those are all within close proximity. So that's a really big advantage that our students love, but also our local employers have come to rely on getting some outstanding students from our campus. And at Guelph, we recognize that some fields like computing and STEM in general have historically been more masculine, and we want to change that narrative and make an inclusive environment for women and non-binary people to feel comfortable to join and excel in their chosen field. So we have clubs like GWICS or Guelph Women in Computer Science to create those female communities, and they host female industry speakers or workshops to support you as needed. So when differentiating between the 2 majors, and remember they're both available in co-op as well, computer science is your more traditional computing program. There's a few sample courses listed there that are distinct to those pursuing computer science. And there's certainly more math courses that you would take as part of this route of study than in software engineering. In your upper years in computer science, there is fewer required courses, which means there's more freedom to take electives that really interest you. And so you can tailor your degree to match your interests. In software engineering, there's fewer math courses that you're expected to take, and you still do cover some of the traditional computer science aspects, but then there's more of a focus on software design and development. We sort of consider this the modern computing degree, so looking at app development and different kinds of user experience and human-computer interaction. Every year you take a course called software design, and it could be looking at legacy systems or best practices for code development. There's also a real focus on group work and collaboration, and you are taught formal project management methodologies as well within your teams. And so now I'd like to introduce you to our first computing student, Izehi. If you'd like to join me on screen now and just let us know again, where are you from? And just kind of go through the points on screen. What drew you to study computing at Guelph?
Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Izehi. I am in the Bachelor of Computing, Computer Science Co-op. I'm also pursuing a minor in Human Resources and Org Behavior. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and my G reason why is, so my sister actually went to Guelph. She was in her 4th year when I was in my 1st year. And before I had made my choice for university, when I was still in grade 12, I came over during my Easter break to kind of just see her because she spent it in Guelph. So I came to see her, and she's kind of like took me around campus, and it was just really nice to see the warm environment that Guelph had, I would say. It just really felt very homey. I got to speak to some people. I spoke to some of her friends in my program. They're all really helpful. They shared so much information about how much they loved Guelph. And that was really mainly it for me. And then just the good program as well. After speaking to some of my sister's friends, to program coordinators, it just made sense for me to come here. And I still talk to first years now, and they say the exact same thing. You know, Guelph is like home away from home. And yeah, that was it for me.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And as a computing co-op student, you've done some really interesting work terms. So can you maybe share one of your experiences? Where did you work and what did you learn?
Okay. I'd say my most memorable co-op work term. So I did all 5 work terms. But my favorite one was definitely my most recent one. It was at the Cooperators, which is a financial services and insurance company based here in Canada. And I worked in their information security governance team, which I had never done before. My past co-ops, I was more operations based. So I didn't really have an interest, so to say. I was just kind of curious as to kind of what exactly InfoSec governance was. And it was one of my favorite things. And I think it kind of gave me clarity as to kind of what I want to do post graduation. I got to take part in a number of initiatives around reporting. I did awareness, I did assurance and some policy stuff. But I think one of my favorite things for sure was attending industry conferences and events and being able to meet professionals from other companies. It was really eye-opening, I would say, to see how security kind of worked behind the scenes and to learn from people who've been in the field for years and just to make that connection.
Amazing. Thanks. And can you share with our guests as well, what kind of prior programming experience did you have before first year, if any? And what's it like in first year in terms of what might be some of the programming languages that they introduce you to during first year?
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually didn't have much coding experience before coming to Guelph. I was originally planning to go into engineering also here at Guelph, but last minute I kind of switched my mind and leaned more towards computer science. I didn't graduate high school with any formal coding background or any at all, really. So I just kind of I just chose to spend parts of my summer um, exploring some basic computing concepts on my own. Um, but I'd say definitely it would be helpful if you do have some prior experience, but it's definitely not required. I began my journey with almost none. And I mean, I'm now in my last few months of my program, and I think it's going really well. So you definitely have the chance to pick things up as you go. And also in your first year, they kind of make it very conducive. The first language that we um, used was C, which is kind of a very basic language. You get to really learn the basics of programming, memory management. So yeah, no experience required whatsoever, but it would be nice to have some, but you will be just fine, I promise.
Awesome. That's great. And lastly, for now, you added on a minor, and a minor is for those students who don't know, this is a completely optional pursuit. But if in case you have a secondary interest outside of computing and you wanted to pursue about 10 courses specifically in that stream, then adding on a minor is something that students can do at any point in their degree. Again, you take those 10 courses in that area, and then it's formally recognized that you have a secondary area of specialization and it can show up on your transcript. So you did add on a minor in human resources and organizational behavior. So what made you choose that one?
Okay. I wanted to do something a bit different from my degree. My first thought was to do statistics because it just kind of made sense that it would just blend well with computer science. But after taking one HR course in my first year, second semester as an elective, I really, really enjoyed it. So it made me realize that I really love learning about the people side of things, how teams function, how organizations motivate their people. And I would say I was a bit scared that it wouldn't complement my program, but it really did really, really well. Because so much of tech work involves teamwork and collaboration. And in my co-op terms, I would say that my human resources background always kinds of shines through and they always tell me that, oh, we saw that you also have an HR minor, like, why is that? And like, that's so interesting. You must really be a good people person, which most employers really do look for. And when I'm working with other departments or explaining technical things to non-technical teams, it really shines through. And I think it's really helped me in that aspect.
I would agree. Yes. Excellent. Okay, so thanks so much for sharing that, Izehi. Feel free to turn your camera off at this point, and I'm now going to call on our other computing student. So Srinivas, if you'd like to come on screen now, and can you just take a moment to share some of the details about what's on this slide? How did you hear about us, and what drew you to the University of Guelph?
Hi guys, so I'm Srinivas. I was born in Kerala, India, but I grew up between Abu Dhabi and Dubai in UAE. And I chose computer science mainly because I've always liked building things and solving problems, let's say in a structured way. And I think the biggest thing I've learned through university so far is that it's okay to take times to figure things out, ask questions and grow in your own pace. And it's been a journey and I've been enjoying it. And the reason I chose Guelph was actually because I've been fortunate enough to visit the campus back in 2018 as part of a trip to Canada. And like Izzy has already mentioned, the people over there are very warm, welcoming, and the location being so close to downtown in Toronto opened up a lot of opportunities for summer internships, as Purvi had mentioned. So that was mainly my main reason for choosing University of Guelph, and the computer science program seemed pretty elaborative and interesting to me. So that's the reason I chose University of Guelph.
Awesome, thank you. And you were also a co-op student. So is there a job experience or co-op term that you did that was particularly memorable?
Yeah, it would be my first co-op work term, and it was with Visis.ai. It was a startup that was incubated in Indian Institute of Sciences in Bangalore, India. And I worked as a full stack developer. So naturally, I got a lot of hands-on experience, not just in coding, but also working with a team and building features from end to end. So I was able to also make a lot of new connections, which I'm positive will help me in my future opportunities as well.
Wonderful, thank you. And can you talk about a class you've taken as part of your computing degree? What stood out to you? What taught you something you didn't know before that our guests can look forward to? What was the course, and can you describe what you took away from it?
My favorite course would be Structure of Microcomputers. It was a second year course. It was definitely challenging, but in a way that pushed me to really understand how computers worked at the hardware level. And the professor was really invested, let's say, in the class and dedicated, and he explained things in a very clear and concise way. And all of this gave me more confidence to push forward, and was actually my most scoring course of that semester, actually.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. So if anyone has any questions for Izehi or Srinivas, please enter them into the Q&A, and we'll make sure that we circle back to them at the end. Okay, so moving along, here's a quick look at the first year courses you can take as part of your computing degree. So it looks like a busy slide, so I'll kind of break it down for you. But the first half of the slide is if you were interested in majoring in computer science, and then the bottom half of the slide is if you were interested in majoring in software engineering. And so we've kind of broken down what you would take in the fall semester, what you would take in the winter semester, and then the QR code on the left is just going to give you a breakdown to all 4 years of study, all the different courses you would take. So if you wanted to line them up side by side because you're still trying to make that decision, then the QR code is the best resource for you here. And so I'll leave that slide up for just a second. If anyone wanted to screenshot that, feel free. And I'm sitting in front of my window and I'm aware that there's a lot, the sun is shining directly on my face. So I'm hoping that will pass. Okay. And so I wanted to share the Bachelor of Computing co-op term with you all as well. The biggest takeaway here is that you have one work term in second year and none in first year. But also look at the nice 16-month stretch of time away from class after third year. So that's a nice long time to get in some solid industry experience and maybe stay at one company the whole time or try 2 different 8-month blocks at 2 different companies. So because of the number of work terms, you can try out different sectors and industries and see what you think you would enjoy. And this is not an exhaustive list by any means, but take a look at some of the examples of industries and job titles that our students have had via co-op terms or jobs post-graduation. So sectors like, the tech industry, healthcare, finance, game design, e-commerce and retail, the list really goes on. And some of these logos are obviously very recognizable. You've got Amazon, Apple, Microsoft in there. And again, you can get jobs in nearly every field because they all intersect with technology nowadays. But I encourage you to also consider some of those smaller and mid-sized companies, maybe that are local and Canadian. Something like D2L stands for Desire to Learn. They're a global national education technology firm. They've got two major offices, one in Toronto and one in Kitchener. Kitchener is about just 30 minutes from Guelph. They hire our co-op students and graduates for full-time jobs, partly because we already use their products here at the University of Guelph. So they have a software called Brightspace, and so we use that. And it's the site online here at the University of Guelph where our students can navigate their courses, upload their assignments, etc. So what a great way to plug that in your interview if you ever worked at D2L, that you're already familiar with their products. Okay. So again, please keep putting those questions into the Q&A for the Bachelor of Computing, and we'll circle back to them at the end. But I am going to move forward now, and we're going to chat about the Bachelor of Mathematics. And so this program is really unique because it gives students a chance to study math, but also choose what other types of courses you want as part of your degree. So many math students love the math portion, but they don't love the science. So sometimes, this degree was created so similar to computing. Students can use their electives to complement math with other subject areas and not be required to have those high school science courses for admission. You have the option to further take your mathematical science major and then choose an area of emphasis in either mathematics or statistics. And then after your 4 years, you've got a set of valuable skills like quantitative analysis, modeling, critical thinking, and problem solving, and those can be applied to absolutely every field. In our library on campus, we also have an area called the Science Commons, and that provides dedicated academic support to students in math, chemistry, and physics. So you can visit there at any time, and you can have teaching assistants in those departments, and they'll help you understand any challenging concepts you may have encountered. And that's something that I always valued about Guelph, is how much peer helping there is and student support services on campus to help you transition to a new learning style, which you do when you move from high school to university. And some of the roles and fields that our mathematical science graduates have succeeded in are shared on screen. So we've had our grads work in medical and tech and pharma companies like Fortrea in the US, PricewaterhouseCoopers firm in data management and analytics. They worked at global universities in healthcare departments or teaching, among other options. One of the most memorable grads that I heard of was Emily, who worked for Ion Geophysical in Scotland, and she helped develop and test a software that was used on earthquake detection vessels. So she would be able to tell the crew exactly where to position the ship in order to detect the behavior of the currents in water as they relate to earthquake activity. So that takes enormous detail and precision, and I thought that was a really interesting application of her mathematical science degree. And again, this is what most first-year students experience as part of their recommended course of study, so I'll leave that up there for a second. Our Bachelor of Mathematics is currently not available in co-op, and so this degree would be 4 years long, as opposed to a co-op degree like in the Bachelor of Computing. It does extend your duration of study from 4 years to 5 years. Okay, so here in the fall semester, you'll see you've got one elective, and in the winter semester, you get two. And then to see your full 4-year course breakdown, please scan that QR code on the left. Okay, and so Finn, I'd like to call you on screen now. And can you just take a moment or so to just tell our audience member what it is that you're studying here at the University of Guelph? And what's great is to hear your perspectives as a domestic student, because you grew up here. So what made you want to stay and study at Guelph?
Yeah, of course. So just as a repeat, my name is Finn. I'm a third-year Bachelor of Math student, so in the mathematical science major here at Guelph. And I'm loving the program so far. And specifically, I want to talk about my G reason why. So that the reason that I said yes to Guelph, because I did grow up, as Purdy mentioned, here in Guelph. And it was really absolutely, I want to echo what Izehi and Srinivas said. It was absolutely the warm environment and just the beautiful campus, quite frankly. It's absolutely like it looks amazing right now during the fall, especially. And the teaching, so the professors here are absolutely like they're so friendly. It's a wonderful environment, and that together with having seen the University of Guelph, having grown up around Guelph, it kind of made me decide this is where I want to be. This is better than any of the other offers, I think. And I've been so happy to be here and study here. It's been absolutely wonderful.
So nice to hear. Thanks for sharing. And I know you've really been enjoying your degree and all the math courses you're taking. So I wonder if you can share any favorites that you'd like to highlight today.
Yeah, of course. So I think my favorite favorite course that I've currently um, been able to have the opportunity to take is a third year course. So one I'm currently enrolled in, and it's called Real Analysis. It's one of those math courses that initially you don't expect to have a lot of application, but really it kind of lays the foundations for a lot of mathematics that we learn in first year or even in high school, and it provides more context. So it's a wonderful course because as the professor is very passionate about teaching the subject, so that makes class it always makes class fun. And additionally, it's just such an applicable area of math that I think it's one of those highlights of the program for me of the mathematics program.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know you're also involved as a member of the Math and Stats Student Club, and you've even formed another student club of your own. So when trying to build a community in first year, what can students expect from joining clubs like those?
Of course, yeah. So I'm currently an executive of the Mathematics and Statistics Club at Guelph. And for any first years that are coming in, we've had quite a few events this semester. So our events consist of, there are some more academically leaning events, like for example, if we're doing a workshop for a specific programming language used in statistics, called R. We did that not too long ago. But there's also other fun and more networking based opportunities to just get involved with other students that are in math, that are maybe in their second, third, fourth years. And so there's lots of opportunities for first years coming in, and that's a great way to connect. I think the best way to do that is it's really just to join the club. You don't have to come to every single event, but seeing the first years is enough, because then they're involved and we get to speak to them, and that's wonderful, because it's always good to hear new perspectives from students that are just coming in the club.
Agreed. Yeah, that's great advice. And I would encourage anybody, no matter where you end up going, definitely get involved with some extracurriculars and join those clubs. It's a great chance to meet students, sometimes from other programs as well, that just that have a more casual interest. And so you can also connect with people from other disciplines, but also senior students in your program as well, and just hear what their experience has been like. And so thanks, Finn. Thanks for sharing your perspectives. If anybody has any questions about his experience or anything that you've heard or about the Bachelor of Mathematics, please add them to the Q&A and then I'll review them shortly. Okay, so with that, we've completed the academic part of the presentation, but I just wanted to spend the last couple minutes just reviewing any questions that are that might be in the chat. And then we'll talk about your next steps as an applicant. And I know that you would have seen some of those slides in the main welcome session, but it's a nice way to kind of end off just so it's refreshed in your memory. So what are your next steps when you're interested in applying to the University of Guelph? So having looked at the Q&A here, Srinivas, if I can call you on screen now, and maybe I'll send this question to you. What's the workload like as a first-year student, and how are the professors?
Hi. Yeah, so the first year load was genuinely manageable for me. Maybe it's because of my high school background, but and I guess my first year was a very smooth transition into university life. Maybe because of courses like Calculus 1. The professor made it a very interesting course. He actually held weekly activities. And it's not like students are listening to boring lectures. People are pretty invested and engaged into the lectures. So, and it gave me confidence early on. That helped me transition smoothly into university life. So, yeah, first year load was not that hard actually.
Good to hear. Hopefully that's reassuring for a lot of people. And Srinivas as well, while I have you, did you have classes 5 days a week as a computing student?
I did not. Luckily, we do have the flexibility of choosing our schedule early on. So I actually went for a pretty laid out schedule because it's just because it was my first semester. I was getting used to the people and the surroundings and the classes. I didn't want to get rushed in like that. So took it pretty easy on myself.
Yes, and
So it
that's
was hectic, to be honest.
yeah, yeah, and that's an important kind of difference from high school where, you know, it's mandatory, there's attendance taken, you go to class every single day. At university, that accountability is on you, and you do get some control over where you'd like to slot your courses in. And so for some programs, it will be kind of 5 days a week that you're learning, and in others, sometimes there is some blocks of time where you may not have to be on campus. So thanks for sharing that. Izehi, would you mind
No,
coming on screen now? And just letting us know, are there any opportunities for students to get involved with research at the undergraduate level if they're interested in that?
Oh yeah, for sure. There are many. I personally haven't held a research position. I have applied for one before, and I even got an interview early on for it. I just didn't meet the course requirements. They thought that I was in my third year, but it's actually my first year, so that kind of altered my plans. But I know many people who've done research here, and they've really had positive, wholesome experiences. The university posts a very wide range of research opportunities and you're honestly. I mean, you don't have to have taken a class with that professor beforehand as well to get involved with their projects. If you're curious and willing to learn, they're usually very open to working with students who are here and are motivated. Yeah.
Great answer. Thanks for sharing. And then there's one last question here. Finn, if I can call you on screen for this. There's some, you know, sometimes the classes can be quite large, particularly in first and second year. And then, of course, as you move through your degree, the classes really kind of streamline and become more focused. And so they really whittle down in size. But someone was curious, if a student doesn't understand a concept in class, can the student later approach the professor to get more clarification? What's your experience been like with maybe office hours or just kind of that open door policy that some of them have?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it is the case that in pretty much every single class, and I would hazard to say literally every class, the professor will always be welcome to questions. It's always a matter of asking how they would prefer those questions. Some don't answer their email like immediately, and so you can have a question that you'd like to ask. But that's why there are those resources like office hours. So every professor will post, or they'll have a TA, so a teaching assistant, who will post office hours, and so you can look on our on D2L, so on our what's called our course link, or just look into the information for the course where we can access those, and they will always have a specific time slot for when we can go and ask questions to the profs. But they're always willing to answer. It's never that they're not. They're just sometimes not available by email because they get a lot of emails and stuff like that. And if it really comes down to asking questions and you're not and the professor is very busy. There's also other resources like the Learning Center for math and stats that's in the library, and otherwise there are supported learning groups for certain courses, I believe. There's lots of resources there, but the professors are usually very happy to answer questions, so it's very welcoming there.
Perfect. Thanks for answering that so well. So yes, I would echo Finn's sentiments. The same when I was in school, and I'm sure the other students on the call feel the same. It's usually they're very there's dedicated times where you can kind of maybe sometimes go in person or schedule a virtual meeting, and other times they've got teaching assistants. So it's senior students, sometimes graduate students, and you can definitely schedule something with them for clarification. But yes, a lot of resources, especially peers helping peers. So we have something called supported learning groups. We've got peer helpers. So it's kind of senior level students who've already taken those earlier courses, done quite well, and then can really share some how to kind of break down those concepts a little more and how to succeed in those courses in really small group ratios and sometimes even one-on-one. So perfect. Yeah, thanks, Finn. And then, so just some questions about co-op placement. So I'll take this one. Somebody was asking if co-op placements are guaranteed, and that's a really, really good question. And the answer is no. So we think it's important to say that we do not place a student at a job. The job search is definitely driven by the student, but we do give you a lot of skills before your first work term and some resources and support before you go out there. So all co-op students at the University of Guelph, no matter what program you're in, will have to take a co-op preparation course. And in that course, you're taught how to write your resume, how to perform in an interview. You're introduced to your specific co-op advisors. And so for the Bachelor of Computing, you've got 3 dedicated co-op coordinators or co-op advisors. And they'll also do site visits, and they'll just kind of check in with you to do your co-op evaluations as you're on your work term. But also prior to, they're a really great resource that if you're interviewing at a number of companies, you're not quite succeeding in securing the job, then they're a great resource to help figure out why that might be and sort of problem solve that with you. And sometimes, and this has happened somewhat often as well, is maybe you were supposed to line up a job for the summer, you've been interviewing, it wasn't possible. They may help you with it on a case-by-case basis, switch that co-op term and say, okay, why don't you take some courses instead so that you're not behind? And let's see if we can get you a job for the fall instead, and starting in September instead of in May. And so there is some wiggle room there to try and even kind of rearrange your co-op and academic schedule to make sure that you're still graduating on time. Okay, and I'm just going to take another look here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, and then there's another question here about some incubators and things like that. So we do at the University of Guelph have a great center that all students in all programs, whether you're in arts, computing, math, science, business, and it's called the John F. Wood Center. And they have what's called an incubator hub. And so any student that's ever had any kind of desire for entrepreneurship, or you maybe want to design an app, but you don't know how to get started with it, or you've got an idea for a business or something, they'll go over and they kind of have different programs that you would do on the side. And sometimes there's sort of 8-week workshops where they teach you all the way from how to conceptualize your business idea to designing it, implementing it, testing it, and then actually publish it or taking it to market. They'll also have pitch presentations. So sometimes they'll do a mock competition internally with people who are in the incubator hub and taking those programs, and then you kind of get to do a formal pitch presentation. There'll be some judges and you'll get some feedback on it as well, and there's some prizes with some award money attached to it as well. So a lot of different ways that you can pursue kind of innovation here as well. Okay, and so with that, I'm just going to wrap up our last couple slides, and then again I'll revisit the chat and just make sure that there wasn't anything that I've missed. And so again, some of this was covered at that welcome session, but just it's a nice place to end off just as a reminder for what are your next steps now that you've had all the information. Okay, so if you haven't already, we encourage you to put in your application to the University of Guelph. So here are some ways that you can begin the application process. That QR code on screen will take you to our website that outlines how you can do that. But just a reminder, if you're a Canadian citizen and you're living overseas, you will need to use the Ontario University's Application Centre. But then some other means like Common App, et cetera, will be outlined when you scan that QR code. And then to find out our international tuition and scholarships information, again, the QR code on slide here will take you to where you can kind of see the breakdown of some of our largest scholarships. But just know that we offer millions of dollars in financial aid each year to our students, and 97% of our international students have received a scholarship with their admission offer averaging over 10,000 Canadian dollars. Now, some of our scholarships, and you'll see on the bottom of this slide, do require an application. So one of the largest ones is the President's Scholarship, the Dr. Franco J. Vaccarino President's Scholarship. It's valued over $42,000. It does have require an application, and it does have an application deadline of January 23rd. So that's something to always keep in mind. And then if anyone needs any assistance regarding immigration, or you have study permit application questions, work eligibility, etc., we do have a global pre-arrival support team. And some of the advisors will be able to help you and even book a virtual appointment with you to help you navigate that process. So please take advantage of the resources that we have for you. And where will you live? Well, residence is guaranteed to all of our international students who are admitted. A reminder that it does require a separate housing application and a deposit, which will go towards your ballot. So just make sure you apply for residence on campus if you will be needing it before June. Okay, so please stay in touch with us over any of the means on screen, and our email is listed there on screen too. That's an inbox that I monitor myself. And again, because we addressed this at the start, it's hard for you to see the campus. You're not able to just pop in for a quick campus tour or attend an open house or just come for a short visit. And so the University of Guelph does offer virtual live guided tours as well. So please scan that QR code and register for free. And you can actually have a guide walk you through the different spaces and places on campus. So it's a great way to kind of see some buildings, some residences, and just walk through some of the nice scenic areas virtually, of course, through your computer screen. But it's nice to kind of get some narration as you see it. And please check us out on social media as well. The main social media handle you'll want to follow is U of G Admission, just so you don't miss those dates and deadlines. But also, whether you enroll in the Bachelor of Computing or the Bachelor of Mathematics, your programs are housed by a college, and that college is the College of Computational Mathematical and Physical Sciences, or CCMPS. And so we've got a great social media account as well, so you can hear the kind of from our award-winning professors what sort of research and innovation and discovery is coming out of our college, and other current students as well, and what drew them to Guelph and what they're working on throughout their undergraduate studies. And if you wanted to speak to a local University of Guelph representative that's closer to your geographic area, even on WhatsApp maybe, there's some people and contact information that you can use anytime. If you don't see your geographic region listed on screen, please contact Shabir on the bottom right of your screen. So feel free to screenshot this. I'll leave it up for a couple seconds. This is a really helpful contact information slide. Okay. And so with that, we seem to have answered most things. I'll just go back in the chat one more time and have a look, but we all hope you found this session really helpful, and maybe it introduced you to something that you didn't know before. So please stay in touch with us through the email address on screen or through any of the accounts that we mentioned. And so for program related questions or about student life, CCMPS info at uoguel.ph is the best place to start. And with that, our webinar is done. We will all be turning off our cameras. Thank you to my university students and staff working away on the chat today. So all of us are welcome to either, if you have any other questions, you can, again, email us on screen now or follow us on social media and let us know where your questions are, and I'll be able to guide them on. So I will turn my camera off. I will stick around for a couple of extra minutes before I end this webinar formally, just to make sure I've answered all the questions in the Q&A. But again, thank you all so much for joining us. We hope you are just as excited as us to attend the university, to have you attend the University of Guelph next year. So good luck with your applications, and we hope to see you soon. Take care.